Hello everyone, it's your lovely Abbie Dagrin and welcome back to my channel, lovelies. Today I'll be continuing a series on my channel that deals with natal chart analysis. Today I'll be doing one on Hozier. I'll be speaking on his personality traits as well as his characteristic traits, and as well as how a lot of the placements in his chart has led a lot of the success that he's endured in his career. So please stay tuned for the rest of my video, lovelies. If you have not yet become a part of the Abbie Dagrin family, then this is your calling to do so. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when I upload videos on the daily. Please also make sure you hit that like button because I know you guys will love this video. And last but not least, please make sure you share this video with everyone you know, whether it's your friends, your family members, your enemies, anyone who loves Hozier or really loves this content. Now let's get right into the video. Hozier was born on March 17th, 1990, so this qualifies him to be a Pisces. He's someone who's very compassionate, very romantic and artistic. He's intensely empathetic, and he's someone who is very sensitive. He is someone who is very much empathetic because he is a water sign. That's something that comes with it. And he's someone who's very intuitive. Knowing what's going to come up before it does is something that Pisces are very great at because they are water signs. He's very dreamy. This has a lot to do with him being a water sign as well as having a mutable sign. He's someone who's very artistic, very expressive about his creative endeavors. That's another thing that he's very great at. Having this placement, he's someone who's just very interesting, very artistic. This really helps with his music and helps with his creativity with music as well. So this describes him a lot. Up next would be his moon in Sagittarius. So with this placement, he's someone who loves to learn about passion. He loves pursuing knowledge and is great at finding truth about people around them and about the world around them. So he's very open-minded in regards to different cultures, different people, and he's someone who tends to be very energetic because of this placement. He tends to be very optimistic, has a very good sense of humor. He's someone who's very honest with himself and very freedom-loving. He can be very adventurous and very much carefree. He's very open-minded to different things, and he has a go-getter attitude. He's very friendly, and he's someone who just loves to have fun. With this placement, it gives him a lot of the drive he needs in order for him to really accomplish his dreams and know that he can do anything that he really wants to do in his life. So this moon placement just shows who he is as a person and just how great he can be. Up next would be his Mercury in Pisces. So it's great for him to have his Sun and Mercury in the same placement because he's able to express his emotions a lot clearer and a lot better. With this placement, he's someone who's going to focus on the mood of a situation rather than the facts of a situation. This is something that really is great for him and really benefits him. He's someone who also is comfortable with sadness and healing in his voice. He can be evasive. He can be the type of person who may run away from his problems verbally, but he is very flirtatious. He has a very wild imagination. He may have a wandering mind and can be very compassionate, very empathetic. He's someone who is going to have an inspirational and subtle persuasion. He's very intuitive and can be very psychic. He's someone who heals through artistic measures, and he is someone who is a visionary. Up next would be his Venus in Aquarius. So with this placement, he's someone who's very resourceful, very enthusiastic, and he loves a life full of luxury, eagerness, independence, romance, and strength in the relationship. That's something that he would want based off of his placement, and that's something that he feels as though he's able to give. Also with this placement, he may be very unusual, very different, can be very unpredictable, very progressive, logical, and humanistic. This is something that he wants in other people as well. He's someone who's open-minded and thoughtful of the future. He wants to be seen as very unique. He's not the type of person who loves a conventional relationship. He's friendly with everyone. He's someone who's very well liked, very popular because of this personality. He can be aloof and detached with his partner at times, and he's the type of person who would love to have freedom and is very curious. Up next would be his Mars in Aquarius, and with this placement, he's great at making decisions, reverse stances, and making statements very abruptly. He's someone who's very true to himself, and he is cool-headed when making decisions, and he always likes to think before he acts. He's very interesting, and he's someone who loves to do things very differently. With this placement, he has different drives. One of the drives could be him really being innovative, being different, being able to figure out different ways to change society. He's someone who can be intuitive, and he's someone who has a drive that can only really be themselves, and they try their best to really learn everything that they can. Knowledge is extremely important to them and very valuable to them. So this placement shows the type of person who he is, very inventive, and usually has different opinions than the norm. Up next would be his Jupiter in Cancer. So this is actually a very great placement to have because Jupiter is ruled by Cancer, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So those are great placements to have in Jupiter. They are emotionally savvy and have the ability to deeply process their connections and reactions to people and the moments around them. They have a very big empathetic heart and a desire to make other people feel cared for and important. They are very instinctive and attract good luck and fortune because of this. Having this placement, they're able to get a lot of things. First things first, one lucky thing they get is a great marriage. Usually people with this placement are going to be in great marriages, long marriages, prosperous marriages, and marriages that are really great. So that's one benefit of having this placement. Also, they're the types of people who just love to enjoy anything that involves food. Up next would be his lovely placement in Saturn with Capricorn. This is actually a great placement as well because Saturn is ruled by Capricorn, Aquarius, and Libra. They're the types of people who love to take up tasks or projects just for fun. They love the real world and value the importance. They are very disciplined, and they're the types of people who are not the biggest innovative people simply because they are different. It's interesting because he has a Jupiter in Cancer and a Saturn in Capricorn, so he balances out in a way. He gets the discipline needed, and then he gets the luck needed. So he's someone who tends to be very ambitious and will make it to the top of his field because he's going to work hard and make sure that he accomplishes all of his dreams. So this placement is a very great placement and very much important. Up next would be his Uranus in Capricorn. And with this placement, he's someone who's all about planning for the future as much as possible, making him an automatic innovator. This is very great because it makes him very much someone who's going to do different things in order for him to not only benefit himself but also benefit society with his innovative measures. He's someone who him and his peer group seek out practical solutions to changing society's attitudes to custom, traditions, and authority structures. He's someone who tends to be logical and orderly. When dealing with different manners, it will be very important because when they do want to create different things that changes to society, they will plan it very carefully. It will be sweeping reforms, but everything will happen in an orderly manner and it will be taken seriously. So this is an interesting placement. Up next would be his Neptune in Capricorn. So with this placement, he's someone who tends to focus on ways to increase his power, wealth, and influence. This is something that has a lot to do with Capricorn energy, having power, wealth, and influence, being ruled by the 10th house. That has everything to do with that. Having it in Neptune, this is something that's great and something that usually happens and something that he's able to do in people with this placement. He's someone who loves to idealize work, practicality, and the ability to attain reasonable goals. He's also someone who is very selfless and will try his best to attain everything he wants, but in a humble way. Lowering his expectations on all fronts to remain humble is something that he most definitely will do, or anyone with this placement. But what they have to realize is them doing great things and beautiful things for themselves is very beautiful. Up next would be his Pluto in Scorpio. So with this placement, he is a millennial because he was born between 1984 and 1995. He has an intensity when facing something scary. That's something that people with Pluto and Scorpio and millennials really do have. They love to face things that previous generations probably did not want to face or talk about or deal with. But millennials tend to be that generation who will deal with those issues. They will always look at collective issues as very conscientious. And they're the types of people who talk about different resolutions, revolutions, and movements. They're the types of people who look deeper into a situation to discover what's really going on behind the scenes. And they tend to try to figure out solutions based off of what is going on a deeper level instead of surface level talk or surface level things that happen. Up next would be his North Node in Aquarius. So with this placement, he will need to develop these attributes from objectivity, desire for friendship, making desires for the group's best interests, willingness to share unconventional ideas, willingness to champion humanitarian causes, active participation in groups, awareness of equality, relating to others as individuals apart from their specific gender roles, like gardening, doctor, or anything. They love to create win-win situations and recognizing how others feel. Also being able to learn the way of the inventor is something that comes with this placement. Being unusual, creating and connecting to all different types of friendships, learning to open up his heart, and building fulfilling relationships with those around him. Up next would be his Chiron in Cancer. So with this placement, he tends to have the wound of self-love. So he probably feels as though he does not deserve self-love. He does not deserve nourishment because he probably went through neglect or something very harsh in his lifetime, which influences him to be maybe insecure in his life, very emotional and needy. He tends to maybe like to lash on to people and trying to get any form of love and care for people. And sometimes they can manipulate people based off of the reactions that people get. So in order for them to really heal this placement is to realize that they can nourish themselves. They can really have a lot of self-love in themselves and know that they're precious and they deserve all the love that they give. So only be around people who reciprocate the love that you give and know that you can offer yourself that love. Up next is his ascendant/rising in Cancer. And with this placement, he's someone who has a very familiar aura around him. So you feel like you've met him before. He's also someone who tends to be very sensitive to his surroundings. He can be very shy when meeting people who he's never met before. He's typically very caring and sweet. He can be very withdrawn sometimes when he's moody or very sensitive at the moment. He's someone who needs structure and security in order for him to function. He's not someone who likes casual relationships. He wants someone who he can see building a future with him. He's a great listener and enjoys conversations. He loves and enjoys comfort and possibly collecting comfort. He's someone who tends to really look out for himself and as well as others, like their home, workplace, and in love. Last but not least would be his midheaven in Pisces. So with this placement, he's someone who's very introspective in regards to his public career image. He's multi-talented. He's very creative. He can be very receptive to other people, and he's someone who's very passionate. He tends to be someone who is always going to think outside the box. He's very emotionally intelligent, and he is responsive to feedback. With this placement, he's also someone who has the image in the public eye in regards to his career to be susceptible to outside influences. He's someone who has sensitivity, and he can often disrupt his daily activities with those, but he's someone who needs to center himself, prepare for his next challenge, and he's someone who may love music, theater, film, or literature, and he's in music, so this really does fit his lovely career. Also, last but not least, he did have a Capricorn stellium, so this gives a lot of Capricorn vibes in his chart, and he just seems to be a very hard worker. Thank you guys so much for watching my video today. Please let me know down below how you felt about it. Did you get a better understanding? And please let me know who else you guys would want me to do a video on down below. Please make sure you're subscribed, you hit that notification bell, that like button, and that share button. And last but not least, please make sure you are following me on all of my social media accounts, from my Abbie Dagrin account under Facebook through podcasts, my Etsy store to my Instagram under Gael Beauty, and my PayPal that is linked down below. I love you all. Please stay safe and healthy, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, lovelies.